Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gut Health Happy Hour. I am Marissa, your host of this weekly gut health talk that we have a different subject every week and we talk about all things gut health. And this week is sugar. And even if you don't have a sweet tooth per se, you might still want to listen to this training because it is pertinent for, I think, everybody, every single one of us, because the way that our food system is these days, we really can't avoid sugar. And if you are a mom, it may be a really important one for you to listen to as well. So I hope that you all are joining me for this one. Like I said, even if you don't have a sweet tooth, but I asked in the group a few days ago, or my assistant Caroline asked if you prefer salty or sweet, and I think sweet was the winner for sure. So I think we do have a lot of sweet tooths in this group, and I am not here to take away your sugar. Let me just tell you, because if someone tried to take away my salt, I would not be happy. I am more of a salt person than a sugar person, and I will fight you for my cheese and crackers. So I am never, ever here to take away your fun. I don't do that with my clients. I'm not here to do that for you because I'm not about to do it for myself. But the more information, the better, right? And coming up with solutions to things is always great. And the more knowledge you have, the better choices you can make and all of that stuff. So it's always good to just have the information, have the science. I am always a big believer in making sure that everything is science backed so that we're not just throwing information out there that's made up or just on the internet somewhere, right? These are all backed by scientific studies. So please say hello. I'm just going to check and make sure I can see the chat so that you all can ask questions. So say hi if you are watching. I always like to know who's here with me. And it looked like it squished my face again. I don't know how to fix this. Every time I go live in the event, it squishes my face, but still the same information, right? No biggie. So say hi, give me your hashtag replay if you are watching the replay. And just so for fun, let's hear what your favorite sweet food is. Even though I don't have a sweet tooth, I do love cheesecake. And I do love a chocolate chip cookie, just a good old fashioned chocolate chip cookie. If you are gluten-free, like I am, Bob's Red Mill. My goddaughter is here. She's 9 and she likes to bake cookies when she comes over. She's here all week. And we cooked a bag of the Bob's Red Mill gluten-free cookies. Delicious. You wouldn't even be able to tell that they're gluten-free. So, hello, everybody. Say hi as you are coming on. I'll keep an eye on the chat if you have questions about anything. Oh, hi, Data. And hi, Carolyn, my wonderful assistant, Carolyn. You guys, if you need anything, please reach out to Carolyn. And as with everybody in the group, if you message her just to say hello, she will send you my gut-friendly food brands guide. So all the brands that I have vetted, I have read the ingredients. They are, companies that are to be trusted. And I have a whole list of these brands. And she will just send that to you just for saying hi. Just so you reach out to her, say hello, and she will send that over to you. So let's dive into sugar, right? So, I think we all probably have a good idea that sugar is not our ideal food, right? Like we can all pretty much agree that that is probably a true thing. But let's just talk about really the science, the mechanisms behind it, right? So, the big obvious things are that sugar causes diabetes, insulin resistance, right? Metformin is one of the highest prescribed meds in the US. Metformin is prescribed to pre-diabetics and diabetics. 37 million people in America, that's 11% of our country, has type 2 diabetes. Super, super scary. 96 million are pre-diabetic. That is a very, very scary number. And this is basically a disease of sugar. Alzheimer's, they are now calling type 3 diabetes, because a main driver of Alzheimer's is insulin resistance, which is the driver of diabetes. It's a driver of a lot of disease. So we know that, we understand that, but let's dive a little bit deeper, and let's dive deeper into how it affects the gut, because that's why we're all here, right? It's nutrition for women with digestive issues. And if you're anything like me, you've had digestive issues for many years. I had digestive issues for 30 plus years. Now I feel the best I've ever felt in my life at 45 years old. And that's why I am here, to help you all feel as good as I feel. That's the goal. But really, if you have gut issues, there are some mechanisms that would be helpful for you to know about, so that you can understand how your gut works and how you can feel better, right? So, one of the main problems with sugar is it gives us a dopamine hit. And dopamine is what makes us be like, hot damn, I feel good right now, right? And so that's part of the problem. It's very, very addictive. And because of that dopamine hit, it makes us think we're doing something good, right? It doesn't immediately make you feel like you're doing something wrong. It makes you feel quite the opposite. So that's why it's a pretty hard thing to give up. And besides that, so like I said, this is the reason why, even if you don't have a sweet tooth, you may want to listen to this, because sugar is in 68% of packaged foods, even if they are not sweet foods. So, turning that label around and looking at added sugars is a really important thing to do. Look at your salad dressings. Look at your pasta sauces. Look at your, ketchup. There are some sauces that shouldn't be sweet at all that will have added sugar. So really paying attention to labels is a great thing to do. That can definitely reduce those added sugars that we're all kind of getting into our body without really knowing it. So the CDC says that Americans are now getting 77 grams of sugar per day, which is frightening. And they recommend getting no more than 25. So people are eating 3 times the amount of the daily recommended amount of sugar per day. So that is a really scary thing. So let's just talk about a little bit about the difference in sugars. So there's fructose and glucose, which are in pretty much every plant. And those are perfectly packaged up by Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is so intelligent, so smart. It's packaged up with minerals, antioxidants, which I call them little disease fighters, and fiber. So those are okay. Of course, we don't just want to eat, 10 apples and 3 pounds of raspberries every day, but don't be afraid of fruit. Fruit is created in such a way that it is like a magical little combination of things. And when you eat fiber with sugar, the fiber slows down the absorption of sugar into your body. Instead of, when you drink pop, it's like, boom, the pop is here, it's into your blood, and your insulin spikes like crazy. Your blood sugar spikes like crazy. When you eat fruit with fiber, the fiber basically negates the sugar. So if you have, like in raspberries, there's 6 grams of sugar per serving, 6 grams of fiber per serving. So you're negating the effects of that sugar. So that's why fruit, people say, don't eat fruit if you're trying to lose weight, or don't eat fruit if, you're having, diabetes or health problems. But that is not necessarily true. Now, there are some instances where people have fructose malabsorption and things like that. But for the most part, fructose and glucose are good. They're used by the body in appropriate ways, in appropriate amounts. But when we combine those two, fructose and glucose combine together to make sucrose, which we all know is table sugar, that's when we start to run into health problems, right? So table sugar is what we're talking about, added sugar, not the sugar that just comes naturally in plants, right? So table sugar, we probably can all agree, we know it's not good for us, but what does it actually do? It elevates cholesterol. So it's not the cholesterol in food that raises cholesterol. It's an interesting dynamic, and I could do a whole other hour on cholesterol. There's a lot of myths around cholesterol, but sugar can raise cholesterol. Sugar increases chronic inflammation. So inflammation in the body, and this is a buzzword that we all hear, but we maybe don't know exactly what it means. So when you cut yourself, inflammation rushes to the wound to bring, the blood cells and everything that's going to heal it. And it does get inflamed to bring everything there and to try and heal it. That's acute inflammation, and this can happen inside the body. This can happen, in multiple arenas. But chronic inflammation, which is when inflammation is happening all the time, your body is always in repair mode, that's the creator of disease, chronic inflammation. So sugar increases chronic inflammation. It dysregulates the nervous system, which affects your circadian rhythm, which can affect your sleep. So people say, well, I don't eat sugar before bed. Even sugar eaten in the early part of the day can affect your circadian rhythm, can affect your sleep, can affect your mood. Anxiety, depression, all of these things can be affected by sugar. And of course, fat accumulation and obesity can all be driven by sugar as well. But really what we want to talk about today, and really what no one is paying attention to, a very, very small percentage of the medical community and the health community is paying attention to the fact that it completely alters your gut microbiome. And so if you've been to my trainings before, you've heard me say that the gut bacteria are in charge of everything. And that is absolutely true. Of course, genes play a role, and everything in the body plays a role, right? But our gut bacteria truly are like the command centers of our body. We have 100 trillion bacteria living in and on our body. We have more bacterial cells than we have human cells. So we're actually more bacteria than we are human. So we need to make sure that those 100 trillion bacteria are happy and healthy and thriving, and that the pathogenic bacteria have not been allowed to come in and take over, because that's when we run into all kinds of problems. So if you think about your gut flora, that 100 trillion bacteria, and 100 trillion is such a mind-blowing number. You can't even begin to imagine how big that number is, right? So think of your body as being a forest, and it's got beautiful flowers, it's got trees, and it also has weeds that are growing along the bottom of the forest floor. Sugar comes in, directly feeds those weeds, and the weeds will start to overgrow, and they start to crowd out the beautiful flowers. And that is exactly what happens in your gut. The weeds are the pathogenic bacteria. We have them come in and out of our gut all day long. So I do gut microbiome testing, and we can see exactly what's living in your gut. And these pathogens can live in tiny amounts. 0.01% is fine. They actually can have benefits when we have these pathogenic bacteria living in there. Sometimes they create vitamins and things like that. But when we feed them sugar, what they want to eat, they will start to overgrow. They will start to crowd out the good bacteria. That's when we can run into problems. And it perpetuates the problem because those bacteria will crave sugar. So if you're one of those people that has like intense sugar cravings, it's probably your bacteria. They are in charge of you. And so the good bacteria, the ones that we want to thrive and be in high abundance in our gut, they feed on fiber. And so the problem with the standard American diet today, and this goes for children as well, you guys, the worst food in America is kids' food, the absolute worst food. And even sugar and these foods eaten as a child can alter your gut microbiome for a lifetime, just like antibiotics taken as a child. Combine the sugar and the antibiotics and all the processed foods, and you can alter your gut microbiome for a lifetime. So I talk to so many people who are now grown adults, and they say, I've changed my diet, I exercise, I drink my water, I'm doing everything right, but I still don't feel good. I still have these symptoms. I still have inflammation. And it is because it could be something that happened to you as a child. It could be being born C-section. It could be not being breastfed, combined with processed foods. I don't know about you, but if you were a child of the 80s, tell me your favorite food from the 80s. Drop it in the comments. Mine was Cocoa Pebbles. I think I lived on Cocoa Pebbles, Hot Pockets, and macaroni and cheese. And Pop-Tarts, of course. So drop your favorite food in the comments. But those things all affected us and still do. So we need to make some intentional decisions today as adults to try and backtrack and repair some of those damages we did to ourselves, maybe as children. Maybe it was in your 20s. Maybe it was just last year. No guilt, no judgment about any of that. But now we need to make good decisions as the person we are now, the person that is trying to take care of themselves so that we can live a happy existence the rest of our lives, right? Because that's what this is all about. Do I care if you're bloated? Nah, kind of. Do I want you to get rid of your bloating? Yes. But what I really want for you is to live healthfully the rest of your life. And if you have symptoms right now, your body's trying to tell you something. It's yelling at you. So taking care of these things now and reversing some of that damage that we did when we were younger is going to help you live healthfully the rest of your life. So talking about scientific studies, there was a published report that stated that hefty doses of sucrose, which is that table sugar, which is that 77 grams that the average American is having every day, impedes the production of proteins that foster the growth of a bacterial species found in lean, healthy people. So not only are you putting your body into dysbiosis, making the bad bacteria overgrow and the good bacteria lessen, which that balance is how we stay healthy, is that good balance. But we're also impeding the production of a protein that fosters the growth of a bacterial species that they find in lean, healthy people. So there are studies where they take an obese mouse, do a fecal transplant from that mouse into a thin mouse, and that mouse gets fat. So, and it was only a bacterial change, no dietary changes. So there are bacteria that represent lean, healthy people. There are bacteria that represent obese, sick people. So that's a big, big deal. If we're down-regulating this species that is found in lean, healthy people by eating sugar, that is a big deal, right? Sugar also alters something called Th17 cells that are necessary in our body for preventing metabolic disease, diabetes, and weight gain. And only sugar alters these cells. People used to think that all of these were caused by fat. It's not fat, it's sugar. Like fat was really vilified, especially in the 90s. Do you remember everything was fat-free? Who remembers that fat-free craze? I used to eat those, what was it called? Entenmann's or something? No, I can't remember. Does anybody remember what the big brand was that was fat-free everything? That totally, completely changed the arena of health in this country. It created so much disease and so much obesity. It was absolutely insane. One man named Ancel Keys started the whole thing, somehow got the whole country to be fat-free and completely destroyed the health of our country. It's not the fat, it's the sugar. So a lot of people try and reduce their fat intake. Of course, we don't just want to go out and eat 300 grams of saturated fat every day, but it's more about the sugar. Disease is more about the sugar than it is about the fat. So of course, there are things that we can do to avoid that sucrose, that table sugar. 100% maple syrup, organic, is a great option. It's got minerals, it's got all kinds of things. Again, Mother Nature, packaged up, 100% pure maple syrup. And that is a great option for baking and all kinds of things. And then of course we have raw honey. You don't want the kind in the squeeze bear, that's pasteurized and it totally gets rid of all the good enzymes. So raw honey has amazing enzymes. It's so good for your gut. So if you can eat raw honey, it's amazing for you. And it doesn't have the impact on your body that sucrose does. It actually has beneficial impact on your gut. So swapping out sucrose for 100% maple syrup, raw honey, those are two great things. But like I said, we need to be reading labels, right? So making more food at home, making more food from scratch is the best way to avoid this sugar. Of course, you know, you can look up your drink at Starbucks and see how much sugar is in it. Funny story that I just thought of. My best friend used to work at Starbucks, and she would send me a picture of the craziest drinks that people would order, and I would go look it up and see how many grams of sugar were in it. And I think the one we found that was the highest was like 128 grams of sugar. And this person would order this every day. Starbucks, she told me, Starbucks has sugar in everything. Like just the coconut milk they use, I think has like 17 grams of sugar or something. So just looking at those small pieces of your day and where you can make small changes to reduce that sugar is going to be huge. Another thing you can do is combine sugar with fruits or fiber, sorry. So for instance, like we will make black bean brownies or avocado brownies. You don't even know. They're actually so delicious. Or I make avocado chocolate pudding. It's 3 ingredients. It's amazing. You don't even know that it's in there, but the fiber in the avocado or the black beans, or you can do sweet potatoes and things, that is going to negate that sugar content. So if you have a brownie that was going to have 15 grams of sugar, maybe it's got 6 grams of fiber, so now you're only eating 9 grams of sugar. Make it with 100% maple syrup, and boom, you're practically getting healthier eating dessert, right? So another study, when they so those are some of the healthier options. A study they did, and they fed all these mice sucrose for an extended period of time. I think it was 45 days or something like that. And then, I don't like to talk about it, but they euthanized the mice. And then they looked at their intestines, and they had, a couple different control groups. And the one that had sucrose, every single mouse in that group had severely damaged intestines because the bacterial shift in the gut microbiome erodes the protective layer of mucus. So we have this mucus layer in our intestines. We need that mucus layer. That is our first line of defense against leaky gut. And if you've heard me talk about leaky gut, you know I'm passionate about it because I think at least 90% of people have it, and it's really causing most of the health issues in America, in my understanding. So that mucus layer is what protects us from leaky gut. And when the bacterial imbalance becomes so extreme that the mucus layer isn't there, the bacteria isn't there to protect you, the bad bacteria infiltrate the gut lining. The mice who were on the sugar treatment suffered from aggressive colon inflammation with severe diarrhea. And the gut microbiome of the sugar-fed mice, they took it and put it into healthy mice, and it induced exacerbated colitis in the healthy mice, just transferring the bacteria. So that really shows you how much the bacteria has an effect on our body. But one of the noticeable things was that during this study, when they just took the sugar out of the diets of these mice, they didn't get notably healthier, and a lot of them didn't get any healthier. So eliminating sugar from your diet is a great first step, but without addressing the damage that has already happened, it's like if you have a leaky pipe and you just turn off the water. Well, yeah, the pipe isn't leaking anymore, but if you still want to use those pipes, you're going to have to do some repair work on them, right? So just turning off the water is like just taking out the sugar, but the damage is done, right? So this is what I really want to stress and I really want to talk about today is that we need to repair that damage. So like I said, even what you ate as a child, if you ate a lot of sugar as a child, and let's be honest, the cereals that we ate as kids, the Pop-Tarts, the pop, the juice, the fruit roll-ups, the Halloween candy, the Christmas candy, the Easter candy, everything we eat as kids is pretty much garbage. On top of the sugar, it's refined carbohydrates. Kids basically eat white flour, which just turns into sugar in your body, right? And fried foods. Like the foods that the kids eat are just the worst foods you could possibly eat. So that damage is done. If you don't do any work to build back up your gut microbiome, it gets depleted, and it'll get more and more and more depleted. I do gut microbiome tests on every single one of my clients, and you can directly see a correlation of what's going on in their bacteria to what is going on in their life, in their health. So if you want more information about that gut microbiome test, just drop test in the comments, and I would love to get you more information on that. Be happy to talk to you about that. So we need to repair the damage. So there's 3 main steps we need to do to repair the damage. So first, yes, let's take most of the sugar out of the diet, especially for a short amount of time. You got to give your body a break, right? If there's chronic inflammation happening, the body needs a break. It'd be like if someone made you work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what your body is doing when it's inflamed. So giving your body a break. Try to replace some of your sweet treats with fruit or those, fiber-filled desserts I was talking about. But we need to rebuild and rebalance the microbiome. So there are different phylum of bacteria. I don't know if you remember in high school learning about the phylum, but there are certain phylum that need to be in a good balance for us, our bodies, to be working properly. So we need to rebuild the bacteria that we're missing, and we can see that on your gut test. We can see exactly what bacteria you are missing, and we can see exactly how we need to rebalance. The Bacteroidetes against the Firmicutes is a big one. Out of balance, we see obesity and inflammation and diabetes and metabolic disease. Back into balance, we see a healthy person. So that's number 1. We do this by not just taking a probiotic, right? Because like I said before, your gut microbiome is like a forest. You can put good bacteria in, but if it's already overgrown with tons of weeds, just trying to regrow the flowers isn't going to make a pretty forest again, right? So we need to address the pathogenic bacteria that have been allowed to overgrow. That's number 1. There's always a specific order we need to do it in. So address the pathogenic bacteria, then start to rebuild that good, healthy bacteria flora, that 100 trillion bacteria. We want them to be the good guys, right? So there's a specific order we need to go in with that. We need to then, once we get the good bacteria in there with probiotics and different foods and things like that, we need to feed them to make sure that they stay around. So the sugar feeds the weeds, prebiotics and fiber feed the good guys. So adding prebiotic foods into your daily routine, adding more fiber, and slowly add fiber, because sometimes your body can go, whoa, way too much fiber, and then you either get constipation or loose stools or bloating or abdominal pain, things like that. So slowly increase the fiber. That's going to feed the good guys. But we need prebiotic foods or supplements for those bacteria to set up shop in your gut and stick around. Otherwise, they go in and they go out. That's the thing. When people take a probiotic, it goes in and it goes out. So you either have to take that every day for the rest of your life, or you need to do some work on rebuilding that flora. Number 2, we need to heal and seal up leaky gut. So if you're not familiar with leaky gut, the technical term is intestinal hyperpermeability. It's basically the lining of your intestines. They have these tight junctions. There's little tiny spaces where your body is signaled when we eat. It signals your body to gently open up those little spaces just to absorb vitamins and minerals and protein and things like that. We want those things to be absorbed. But when we get damage from the imbalance of bacteria, from depleting that mucosal layer, the little villi, we have these little villi that live in our intestines, those can get damaged from sugar, antibiotics, over-the-counter meds, prescription meds, alcohol, drugs, fried foods, toxins in our food and beauty products. And all of these things can damage all of that. Then the tight junctions open up even more, and now toxins get through your intestines into your bloodstream. That's when a whole cascade of issues, head to toe, start to happen. And that's why every issue in the body can be linked back to the gut. That's why Hippocrates, a million years ago, not literally, but the godfather of medicine, said all disease begins in the gut. And it might not be 100% true. There are, I think, 2% of diseases that are actually genetic that there's nothing you can do about, but the rest of them you can. And sealing back up that leaky gut is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. So this is what we work on a lot in my program, in the Happy Belly Method, because everybody's got it, guys. Everybody's got the leaky gut. Unless you live on a farm and you eat your own food that you grow and you have no toxins in your life and you eat no packaged food and you grow your own cows and your own vegetables and all of that, you probably the Amish don't have leaky gut. But in our world that we live in today, everyone's got it. So we do a lot of work on healing and sealing up that leaky gut, which is a process that we need to do in a particular order. And then we need to detoxify the cells of the body that are holding on to toxins. So our body is really intelligent. The fat cells in the body are what hold on to toxins. So in particular, the fat cells around the belly, so that's why people have a lot of belly fat, is because those cells are trying to protect your internal organs. The body is so smart, it takes the toxins, holds onto them for life. So if we don't do any targeted work to get those toxins safely out of the body, which is also a 2-phase process of detoxification, your body's not going to let go of those fat cells because it's protecting you. So we need to gently make sure that we are supporting the detox process of the body, getting those toxins safely out of the cells, stop putting more toxins in. And the combination of those three things, rebuilding the gut bacteria, healing up leaky gut, and detoxifying the cells, that's going to repair any of the damage done from whatever we did when we were younger, whether it was when we were 5 or 35, right? But that process needs to happen to actually repair the damage. Just removing the sugar isn't the solution. And I want to make this point because people get really frustrated. People get so frustrated. They say, I have been eating gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, and nothing has changed. And that's why, you guys, one-size-fits-all programs don't work. Diets don't work. The magic pill you saw on TV doesn't work. None of these things are working. If you saw my video I did earlier today, these are all throw pillows. Don't go out and buy the throw pillows before you build your home. Build your home first, then you can go buy the throw pillows. We need to build the home. We need to make the body, our health home, strong first. Then you can go scroll Instagram and buy some cool probiotic that you saw, right? Or try some diet to lose that extra 15 pounds that you haven't lost yet. But we need to take these 3 steps in order to make that strong health home and repair the damage that has been done. So if you have questions about that, oh, hi, Jenny. Let me look through the comments here. Anybody have questions? If you have any questions about that, please drop them in the chat. I do have a 5-day sugar detox workbook that will walk you through if you want to do a 5-day sugar detox to start the process of what we've been talking about here, which of course is just step 1. We still need to do the other 3 steps on top of it, but it's definitely a start. Just drop workbook in the comments and either Carolyn or me will send you over that workbook. It has also a little meal plan in it. So it's set up for you for success. It's got the workbook, which walks you through exactly what to do, a little meal plan that's going to be really helpful for you. And that will jumpstart your process into being able to detox this sugar out of your body if you are super addicted, or even if you hardly eat any sugar. It might just be a good idea just to, whatever sugar is going on in your life, the sneaky sugars, it might be a good idea just to do that little 5-day program just to be on the safe side. And you might feel so much better, right? So, and if you want to talk about the rest of the process, building that strong health home, detoxifying, healing up leaky gut, rebuilding your gut microbiome, getting to the root cause of your issues through gut microbiome testing, the link to book a call is in the comments. So please book a call, you guys. I am here to support you. And even if we don't end up working together, it doesn't matter. I want to support you. So I could talk about this stuff all day long. Let's just hop on a call. We'll go over your goals, what's going on with you right now, what you want to be happening with your health, and next best steps for you to get to that place. So totally complimentary calls that I offer to everyone in this group. So super happy to do that. And let's get you feeling better, because I know that when you're not feeling good, you miss out on life. And that is not what I want for you. That is not what I want for myself. So let's get you feeling better. So I'm here for you guys. You can put questions right here in the chat. You can always message me on Facebook Messenger. You can reply to my emails if you're on my email list. And you can always reach out to Caroline as well if you need any of the links that I've ever mentioned. If you want any of the replays of these happy hours, please reach out to Caroline as well. Kathy would like the workbook. Awesome. Melissa, yes, we will get that sent over to you. Awesome, awesome. Anybody have any questions about what we talked about today? Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, have a great, wonderful, fun-filled weekend. And I will see you here next week. I don't remember what our topic is for next week quite yet, but I'll announce it on Monday. And I've been sending out messages to everybody to poll you to see what topics you would like to hear about. So check your message request folder if we aren't friends. If we aren't friends, friend me. Please friend me. So have a great week, everybody. I will see you here same time next week.